Welcome into this special web edition of Cuse Countdown alongside Gabe Altieri. I'm Ben Fontana in front of the Carrier Dome here at Syracuse University, Bayheimburg to be exact, where students can get into the dome on a normal weekday, but now we're over Thanksgiving break, students are home, and now SU is going to play Princeton a couple days after they just played Wagner here in the dome. So Gabe, Wagner was obviously a huge win, 30-point slide for the Orange over the Seahawks. What was your biggest takeaway from that game?
It's got to be the bench, especially Bykita and James Sutherland both came up huge. Bykita, 15 points, all in the second half, 43 bench points total from this SU team. I mean, that's exactly got to be what Boeheim wants in a game like this.
Yeah, a lot of guys like By and Sutherland, and even Jeremy Grant and Trevor Cooney. Trevor Cooney had
to see the freshman get in there.
He had 6 steals. I mean, that's kind of crazy. It is against a lesser opponent, but not too bad. Now we're talking about Princeton. That was Sunday. This is Wednesday coming up. The Tigers run the traditional Princeton offense, so what are we looking out for them?
Got to be their size. 9 of their 14 players are over 6'8". That's something SU hasn't faced this year. I mean, we've talked about against Wagner a lot. The SU was able to use their size because they had that advantage. Rakeem Christmas able to do what he wanted to. Dajuan Coleman really able to have his way in there. And Bykita, as we mentioned, that's something they're not going to have against Princeton.
And Princeton likes to stretch out the floor. They have a guy, Ian Hummer, who's one of those guys over 6'8", all Ivy League first team last year. How is SU going to defend against those three-point shooters and guys who can also play in the paint?
It's going to be tough, and we've seen teams, if they can get hot from three-point range against the 2-3 zone, we saw it with Cincinnati last year. We saw it with teams like Seton Hall a couple years ago, Notre Dame last year. That's something you got to watch out for because if they get hot, there's no way to really stop them, especially with that size.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Princeton likes to stretch the floor. So does SU. They like to run it, too. So we're looking at Princeton and Syracuse. Gabe, what are your X factors, and what's your prediction for this one?
Got to be Dajuan Coleman. We talked about the size down low. And Boeheim said afterwards, one thing about Coleman is he needs to learn how to use his size a little bit better down low. And what better test than against a team like Princeton with all that size? We'll see how he does. That's going to be his first real test as a Division I player.
I like the SU 2-3 zone in this one as my X factor, but who you got?
It's got to be Cuse.
Yeah.
It could end up being close, but we'll have to see about that one. 75-54 in this one. SU, I think, has an easy time, not a whole lot of problems.
It's not going to be as big of a win as the Wagner game, not a 30-point slide, but I have SU scoring in the 80s, Princeton being close in the 60s too. So that's my prediction. Alongside Gabe Altieri, I'm Ben Fontana at the Carrier Dome here in this special web edition of Cuse Countdown, previewing SU and Princeton.